Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. It's Paulie, Esther here. You're about to enter another dimension, a dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind, a journey into a wondrous land of imagination. Next stop, the tinfoil zone. Okay, so I'm going to try and explain everything that has gone on behind the scenes. Some of it you know about, some of it you don't know about, talking about all of the Pennywise theory stuff and what the pieces are, what the so-called evidence is, what we can determine from anything that has happened, if anything, and I'm going to try to keep you in the loop as much as possible and fill in the gaps about why you saw some notifications from me and there weren't any videos. So let's get started. So for me, this whole thing started on Monday, September the 9th, when my Checkpoint XP interview came out. Lovely folks over there at Checkpoint XP had me over. They wanted to expand more into horror game discussion, and they had me on as a guest for their podcast to talk about the latest chapter of Dead by Daylight, being Stranger Things, and they had remarked about how I had predicted the identity of the killer in the last two chapters, and they put me on the spot and asked me to make a prediction for the next chapter. So with nothing to go on, the only thing that I could think of was that there had been red balloons seen in Fortnite, which was a tip of the hat to It, or Pennywise. And Fortnite had done a crossover with Stranger Things, so now that they were doing a crossover with Pennywise and It, maybe that would be the next thing the Dead by Daylight would be working on. And I should note that as a Fog Whisperer, you know, I have a working relationship with some of the people at Dead by Daylight, although it does seem like we are at odds sometimes because I'm trying to unravel mysteries and they're trying to keep them under wraps. You know, we still do have a working relationship with each other. So when I had done this Checkpoint interview, I had shared it with the community manager to see if they were interested in it, you know, hoping I had done a good job representing the brand and all of this. So I'm pretty sure that they did watch it. So then we fast forward a couple days to Thursday, September the 12th, when I am alerted by a few people on the internet that they have noticed that the Twitter accounts of Dead by Daylight, Matthew Cote, the game director of Dead by Daylight, and Patricia, the community manager for Dead by Daylight, all started following Stephen King on Twitter. Now, if you watched my last video about Pennywise, you probably remember that I clearly demonstrated that all three of those Twitter accounts had been following Stephen King for quite a long time before this, and this was an orchestrated series of follows that they created this alert by unfollowing Stephen King and then refollowing him. Again, we should note that Patricia and Matthew Cote are dating, so they talk to one another, and I'm pretty sure that one of them, if not both of them, has access to the Dead by Daylight Twitter account. So it would be very easy for them to, as a couple, decide to unfollow and refollow Stephen King to orchestrate this alert that all three of the accounts started following Stephen King suddenly. Now, knowing that it's orchestrated, you have to wonder why. There's only two possibilities. You wouldn't orchestrate this for any reason other than to troll the community, or because something happened and you want the community to know without actually saying it. Just kind of a wink. Which is it? We don't know. And having said that, later that day, also on September the 12th, I had a conversation with someone who works at Behavior. I'm not going to say who it is because it sounds more sinister than it is, and it's really more of a playful conversation. They told me that I'm discussed in meetings, that they have to do things to make sure that I don't catch on, and that the quote here says, "You can bet your ass I'm going to try to lure you away from all the truths from now on." So does that sound like a person who works for a company that wants the community to know that they have the rights to a Stephen King property, and they're winking at us by unfollowing and refollowing Stephen King on Twitter to orchestrate that bank of follow alerts? It kind of sounds like the opposite, doesn't it? From there, we're going to fast forward to Thursday, September the 19th, when Matthew Cote tweets Tony Hawk, the professional skateboarder, saying, "How does a respected video game developer go about asking you to be in their horror game, asking for a friend?" And everybody saw this and their mind exploded, and nobody knows what the heck is going on at this point. Why is he talking to Tony Hawk? And then the next day, Dave Richard tweets to Matthew, the gif of the Parks and Recs Ron fella who says, "I am really proud of you." Dave, what are you proud about exactly? Are you proud that Matthew Cote reached out to Tony Hawk, or are you proud that Matthew has the whole community running around in circles chasing their tail and nobody knows what the heck is going on? Because I don't know what's going on at this point, and well, I love it, but anyway, let's carry on. So then everybody is so confused at this point, and Tony Hawk, with his 4 million plus followers, somehow responds to this tweet with the answer of, ask your friend to ask me and we can go from there. What? And then Not Queen tweets back, "I grew up playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater. I'm unreasonably excited here right now." And then Ricochet says, "What's happening here? I'm deliciously confused." And Not Queen says, "Everyone is confused with this laughter thing. And nobody knows what's going on, why Matthew did this. I have a theory, but it's pretty off the wall. So let's talk about that." Okay, so back in May, last year, The Nightmare, which is another game of asymmetrical horror genre, put out this tweet of a render of Pennywise in their game with this text alongside of it. It said, "Okay, so one of our artists got way too excited and actually put Pennywise into the game, and it's freaking scary. Now we have a ton of crazy ideas for it gameplay. Could this be a thing? Who do we even need to talk to? At It Movie Official, at Stephen King, hashtag It Movie, yada yada yada." And for like 2 weeks on stream, I had to listen to all these people who came in my chat and said, "Did you see that last year The Nightmare is getting Pennywise?" I'm like, that's not what the tweet says. That isn't what the tweet says. And I was super critical of last year The Nightmare. I felt like this was very irresponsible for them to do. It was like clickbaity, and it maybe even made people buy the game because they thought that Pennywise was coming to their video game, which was not the case. And they have since made a statement saying that they're not getting Pennywise and they just want to focus on their original content. They had an Ask Me Anything on their Discord, and they answered this question. They're not getting Pennywise in last year The Nightmare. And I just was very super critical of them night after night when this question would come up. And I said, this isn't how you run business. You don't do this if you're a game developer. You don't take to Twitter to recruit people to come to your game. Why would you ever do that? You make calls, you seek out connections. If you don't know who to contact, you find out. You don't recruit Twitter to help you get a license. This is ridiculous. And I said, could you imagine, and I used this phrase many, many times on my stream, could you imagine Matthew Cote taking to Twitter and trying to get a license through all of us on Twitter? Who would I ask if I wanted to get this property in my video game? I said that several times. And I just thought it was such a ridiculous concept for a respected game developer to take this route. And now here's Matthew Cote doing the very thing that I said he would never do. And it made my head explode. And so I was like, what does this mean? Is he... Now, I'm not trying to put any words in Matthew's mouth. I could be totally off the wall here. And I said, does this mean he actually did get Pennywise and he's poking fun at last year The Nightmare the way they did it to bring Pennywise up in their Twitter? And he went behind the scenes through the correct channels and he really did get Pennywise, and now he's poking fun at them, and he just picked Tony Hawk as a person at random to insert into his tweet? And never expecting a response because Tony has over 4 million followers. And he did this as an example of how ridiculous it is to try and do it this way. And the real message is that he got Pennywise and he did it through the correct channels, and he's snubbing his nose at last year The Nightmare. I could be completely wrong. Maybe this has nothing to do with last year The Nightmare rivalry or any shade towards them. But that was the way I read the situation. Again, this is completely on me, and I could be way off base about it. But I don't think that they thought that Tony Hawk was going to respond. If you see even Patricia's response to this tweet, she has the George Clooney behind the hedge, like, oh my gosh, he responded. What do we do now? And like, now he actually talked to us. Do we actually explore this? We didn't think that we'd ever get this far, kind of a thing. So that was my take on the whole situation, and I could be completely wrong, but that made me think, wow, did they really get a Stephen King thing? Like, what's going on? Or what if referencing Tony Hawk Pro Skateboarder on Twitter is a very vague clue about Pennywise? In the movie It Chapter 2, we see this kid, Dean, the skateboarder, who claims to have heard Pennywise talking to him through the sewers. Maybe referencing the most famous skateboarder in the world on Twitter is a very roundabout clue towards Pennywise. I don't know. Hey, is it worse than anything else we've got? So then we fast forward to the morning of Saturday, September the 28th, with the quote-unquote vanishing video on the Dead by Daylight channel. So there were multiple reports of this on different websites, on Reddit and the Dead by Daylight forums themselves, that basically, I'll show you a couple examples like this. So here's the one from Reddit from Sivan de Creek. Did anyone else see this notification? I got a notification from the Dead by Daylight YouTube channel that was titled something with Pennywise in it. I can no longer find the notification, and it's not on their YouTube channel. It's like it never happened. I know this seems fake, but I just saw it. I understand if you don't believe me, but I know someone else on this subreddit saw it as well. Just remember this post when Pennywise is released, so I'm not known as a liar. There were a couple people who corroborated this, and then there was a post on the Dead by Daylight forums. We saw that behavior, that notification. I'm not crazy. So today I just got the notification from the Dead by Daylight channel called the Pennywise. If it never happened, I'm going to the doctor. So yeah, this happened, but nobody has a screenshot. Nobody got an email about this. It's a handful of people, as far as I can tell, who even report that this video happened and existed. So around 9 hours after that, I tried to do some testing to figure out how this could be possible, that so many people could get a phone notification but not an email, and then not be able to have like a screenshot of it and stuff. So I started doing some testing. Maybe I shouldn't have made the video the same name because that created some confusion, but I put up a video called the Pennywise, and I published it, and then I set it to private like within 5 seconds, and people got emails and notifications from that. So that test didn't work. I was trying to create a test in a way that I would publish a video and that it wouldn't create email notifications, and I couldn't get it to do it. So I tried again, and because people said, well, you only privated the video, you didn't delete it. What happened with Dead by Daylight is they deleted the video. So I did a second test where I published the video and then I deleted it within 3, 4, 5 seconds. And again, it published notifications, pushed out email notifications to people. So that test failed. I did a third test. As far as I'm aware, no one got the notification for this, where I set up my window browser side by side so that I could publish and then delete almost instantaneously just by moving over to 2 side-by-side browser windows. And I just hit publish and then went over to the other one and clicked delete. And I already had the step done where it says, are you sure you want to delete this? I had already done that so that I could click it as quickly as possible. And as far as I'm aware, nobody ever got a notification on that third test. So I couldn't replicate the results. So I was trying to mythbuster this thing and see if it was possible that people could get just phone notifications but not emails, and not be able to come back to me with proof that I had published something and deleted it. But the times that I did, everybody said, hey, what's this video? I heard about it a whole heck of a lot, which I don't think, I have not even 1/10 of the number of subscribers that Dead by Daylight has. And I heard about it a lot, about what's this video that you privated or deleted after a couple of seconds. And I don't think that it happened that much with Dead by Daylight, which left me super skeptical that it even happened. As an update to that, today somebody tweeted out to me saying that there is a discrepancy between what Dead by Daylight's own channel says they have for the number of videos on the channel and the number of videos that Social Blade thinks that they have, and it's off by 1. Does that mean anything? I don't know. But according to Social Blade, Dead by Daylight has 208 videos, and according to YouTube, Dead by Daylight has 207 videos. Is this missing one video the supposed vanished video? I don't know. So now I'm seeing all of these Pennywise confirmed things, and I'm like, what are we actually confirming this on? Where's the evidence? Are we really basing all of our evidence on this supposed vanished video that no one can prove ever existed, and the orchestrated Twitter follows of 3 Dead by Daylight accounts that we know that they orchestrated those follow alerts? That's the gist of the evidence, right? The other piece of evidence I see people talking about is that all of the quote-unquote Pennywise threads on the forums are being deleted by the mods. I don't know that that necessarily means that it's happening. And now I see people saying you can't even put the word Pennywise on the forums without it getting deleted. But yet I see these threads that say behavior should stop deleting the Pennywise posts, since by now it's really likely that Pennywise is coming soon. Why should they hide it? They're hiding it, but some people start noticing it, and because of it, they probably found out about that notification leak. It's not confirmed to be true, but there are a lot of people saying that they got it. But nobody can prove that they got this notification. And then I like this thread too. Here, this one, it says, now that Pennywise is pretty much confirmed, let's discuss potential survivors. What are we even talking about here? Like, how is it confirmed? I don't understand why this is confirmed. Okay, of course, like, hey, I'm the biggest theory guy out there and reaching for the stars on the theories, but I like to have something tangible that I can bite into and chew on, and I just don't think I have it here. But hey, that doesn't mean it's not coming. I just don't know that there is enough evidence to say, yes, okay, it's coming. And then I thought to myself, why on earth would, let's say for argument's sake that this vanished video did exist, of which nobody can prove, by the way. But let's say, for argument's sake, that the video did exist. Why on earth would they have a video ready just a couple of weeks after the Stranger Things dropped, and we wouldn't be looking for another chapter until December? And then, boom, it hit me. The only reason that this could possibly be happening is if they were going to pull an extra like they did with Ash. And then I remembered Matthew Cote's quote from the year 3 anniversary stream, where he showed the roadmap and said, now remember, this is the minimum that we're promising to deliver to you, and there will most likely be extras along the way. I'm paraphrasing it. I'll probably put the quote in here so you can just listen to the words come out of his mouth right now.
So that's essentially our roadmap for year 4. It's chock full of goodness, but I want to say something. So last year when we released our year 3 roadmap, we put a lot of stuff in there, and we delivered, I think, probably like 95% of what we put in there. The 1 or 2 changes were because, you know, things change, and that's not the priority. But we also delivered a lot of stuff that wasn't in there, and it's most likely what's going to happen. So this is the things that we know we're going to give players for the next year, and there's a lot around this, which is the stuff that we want to give players or that we don't know yet that players want, and that's probably going to come in also.
So let's say, for argument's sake, that this is going to be an extra on top of our chapters here, and that they are going to pull an Ash with Pennywise and put him in as an extra, and that's why we're accelerated on this new character where they've already apparently created a video for on their Dead by Daylight channel. And then I remembered back to when PAX happened, and PAX was like 2 weeks after the Plague chapter dropped. And had they not released the Ash perks in the console KYF build by mistake, Ash would have been a complete surprise to everyone. Nobody saw that coming. Nobody would have thought that anything was going to happen after the Plague for months. If they hadn't leaked those perks by mistake, PAX would have blown everybody's mind with Ash, and we would have never expected it. So, this weekend is New York City Comic-Con. Are they going to do something similar and drop Pennywise at New York City Comic-Con on all of us? I don't know. It seems like there's so much going on with Dead by Daylight right now with the Nintendo Switch, that we know that Dead by Daylight Mobile is going to the booth in New York City Comic Con. They just came off this huge chapter with Stranger Things. Do they really need another big bullet right now? I mean, hey, if they can get it, you can't turn it down. Pennywise is just going to be a huge chapter to get. But right now, I don't know. And as an extra, maybe. I know when they go to one of these events, they like to have stuff to show off, but I kind of feel on one hand that they already have so much to show off. But if they did have Pennywise to show off at New York City Comic Con, well, yeah, that would be impressive. That would be definitely impressive. So just to follow up on this idea that they have Pennywise, there really was a vanished video that nobody saw that they're going to release in a couple of days after New York City Comic Con debuts this big banner that they have Pennywise. I got a tweet from somebody that says, I don't want to say their name because I don't want to bring any hate down on them if this isn't true. They said, Pennywise is coming. You heard it from me first. I have inside information. And I'm like, well, okay, well, how much more evidence do we need, you guys? It's concrete right there. We just heard it out of his mouth. He has inside information, and it's Pennywise not sharing the inside information to make it believable. But hey, they said it, so it's got to be true, right? So I thought, well, what the heck? This isn't reliable. Yeah, has any of this been reliable? So I thought, all right, let me look at this guy's account. And I look and I'm like, oh, he's from the Bronx. And I thought, could it really possibly be that he knows somebody who's going to work at the behavior booth and they're setting it up already and they have seen the art for their booth and Pennywise is featured in the booth and they've seen it and they told this person on Twitter? Could that possibly be a thing? I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't be the craziest thing that happened. I know that when the PAX booth was ready, it was photographed before PAX began, and the Ash banner was leaked on Twitter before PAX started. So, but like Monday seems really early to be setting up the behavior booth at New York City Comic Con. I don't know if they hire it out. I don't know if they bring their own materials or if they have them printed ahead of time and delivered. No idea. They're setting up their own booth or what. I don't know the inner workings of that. That was the only thing I could think. What would somebody from New York have inside information about? Do I need to go get the tinfoil? Is everybody ready? Do we need more tinfoil? I don't know, man. This is crazy. One reason I could think that it would be unlikely that they would spring a surprise character on us at an event like New York City Comic Con is because, especially a killer, you would think that they would want to public test build the killer with the community ahead of time. And they didn't do it with Ash. There was no PTB for him. And that kind of failed spectacularly in that he came out into the game with this perk that was quickly judged by the community to be overpowered and it needed to be nerfed. And that's maybe something that could have been avoided had the community tested the perk ahead of time. So I would think you would need testing with a killer more so to judge the balance of the power. So I don't think Pennywise is just going to pop up anytime soon. But hey, I could be wrong. We know that this group of folks was invited to do some consultation in Behaviors Studios in Montreal that had gone before. The group like Edgar Allan Bro, Vincent Vega, Cauliflower were all there in some form to consult on something. I had assumed that they were consulting on the Stranger Things Demogorgon chapter, but maybe they were looking at the next thing. Could Pennywise have been something that they tested already? Perhaps. Okay, so I guess that catches you up to speed on the timeline and why you saw me publish some videos that vanished instantly, what I was trying to accomplish with that, just to try and scratch at the truth and try and make sense of what was happening and if any of these things that were being claimed actually meant anything. And I don't know that I got any closer to the answers, and I could be being completely bamboozled by the Dead by Daylight staff, and if that's happening, I am perfectly fine with it. I'm a person who loves mysteries, and I, grew up reading Agatha Christie and watching so many mystery shows, and I'd be like, oh, this person did it. Oh, this person did it. And it was very rare when I was ever surprised with a twist ending. And I'm like, oh, I never saw that coming. But those are the most satisfying for me because I've seen so many mystery tropes that it's like old hat for me to figure out who did it. And this, I have no idea what's going on, and I love every second of it. Whether they have Pennywise or not, if it's something completely different, if it's my other super crazy theory, it's like, hey, remember that empty bell jar behind the lady playing the guitar on the anniversary stream? that's missing a puzzle box, so we're really getting Pinhead, and the clue was right there in front of your eyes all the time. I'm like, yeah, I saw that one, I knew it. If it's that, then, you know, we're completely off base here, but I just don't know what to say. But I'm completely fine not knowing what's going on for a change, because it makes it so much more enjoyable for me, and I don't hold anything against anybody if any of this was orchestrated with a purpose of misdirection or red herrings, just to keep the community on their toes and second guessing and never knowing where the action was. I'm completely on board with this campaign. So I was going to talk some more about Pennywise potential powers and things like that, but this video is incredibly long, so I'm just going to end it here. Is Pennywise going to be revealed as the new license that Dead by Daylight has at New York City Comic Con? I have no idea. Probably not. Seems like they have enough going on right now. But the good news is we don't have long to wait to find out, because New York City Comic Con is right around the corner. On Thursday it starts, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care of each other out there in the fog, unless you're the new confirmed killer, Pennywise, and hit those survivors with the deadlights. Take care. Bye-bye.